sit. The Vice Chancellor, our dynamic and erudite, very distinguished Professor Edoba OMOREGBE, SAN, ably represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor at Kewan Campus, Professor BENN. Your Excellencies, top government functionaries present, Royal Highnesses, former Vice Chancellors, other principal officers of our great university, the provosts, deans, directors, the inaugural lecturer and family, professors emeriti, members of the university's governing council here present, other esteemed professors and erudite scholars, my lords, spiritual, greatest UNIBEN staff and students, invited guests, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to welcome you to this 336th inaugural lecture of the University of Benin. Please put your hands together. Today's lecture is to be delivered by the very amiable Professor of MORPHO-SYNTAX and Applied Linguistics, Professor ESOHE Mercy OMOREGBE. The topic of lecture is the task of grammarian in a digital age. The Vice Chancellor's procession will now be formally introduced.
The Vice Chancellor, sir, ladies and gentlemen, with your kind permission, I want to adopt the already established protocol for this event by PRO. It's my pleasure to welcome everyone to our 336th lecture in our inaugural lecture series. The registrar, Mr. Ademola Bobola, is away on official assignment and he has asked me to represent him. I'm H.O. Osaren, Senior Deputy Registrar, Admissions Office. Today's procession is led by our very determined, focused, and energetic Vice Chancellor, a legal icon, the learned sick. I'm talking about Professor Edoba OMOREGBE. He's here represented by an ebullient administrator, the leader of the Muslim community in the University of Benin. I'm talking about the Deputy Vice Chancellor at Kewan Campus, Professor Ayinde. We have somebody I want to refer to as our own Chancellor of the Exchequer, the man that has the key to the safe of the university. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for the acting boss, Mr. Osadolo. And then we have the man that has read all the books, the physical ones and the e-one. I'm talking about our university librarian, Mr. Barrister Walter Megison. We have the Provost, College of Postgraduate Studies, a very dynamic young person, former Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic here at the University of Benin. Please let's put our hands together for Professor ESOHE. We have Professor Sado, Provost College of Medical Sciences, ably represented by Professor OMOREGBE. The #1 student I'm talking about the Dean of Students, Professor Udao. We have the host Dean, bearing in mind that the inaugural lecturer is from Faculty of Arts. I'm talking about the Dean, Faculty of Arts. Former Dean of Students, Professor O.B. Osadolo. And for those who may not know, he used to be the acting Vice Chancellor, Ambrose Ali University, Akpoma. We have the Dean, Faculty of Agriculture, Professor Mokaro. Professor Ekanem, Dean School of Basic Clinical Sciences, is here represented by Dr. Fure. We have Dean School of Basic Medical Sciences, Professor H.P. Osadolo. Professor Mrs. Izeyamu, Dean School of Dentistry. Professor Morugiwa, Dean Faculty of Education. Professor Gujo, Dean Faculty of Engineering. Professor Ehigato Irugbe, Raphael, Dean Faculty of Environmental Sciences, is represented by Dr. Jeff Nwodo. We have Professor Bazwaye, Dean Faculty of Law, represented by Dr. Daudu. Dean Faculty of Life Sciences, we have Professor Mobe. And I'm sure I don't think I will need to read any handout to be able to pronounce this name, unlike my registrar. I'm talking about the Dean Faculty of Physical Sciences, Professor Ayo Buni. Then we have Professor Sarojagbo, Dean School of Medicine, here represented by Professor Nauna. Then Faculty of Pharmacy, Professor Irudaro Igbe. We have Professor Uko Aviomo, the first Dean of the Faculty of Vocational and Technical Education. Professor OMOREGBE, Director, Third Fund NEC World Bank Center of Excellence. Professor Oaihena, Director, Center for Educational Technology. Professor Mrs. Igudu, Director, Center for Sustainable Development Goals. Of course, former University of Benin Orator, Professor Edie Ragbi, Director of Advancement and Development, Alumni Relations. Professor Mrs. Orukbe, Director, Advanced Digital Engineering Center. Professor Mrs. Ayebo Sadu, Director, Institute of Child Health. Professor Mrs. Aihie, Director, Students Guidance and Counseling. And then Dr. John Osagai, Acting Director, Institute of Public Administration and Health Services Management. Ladies and gentlemen, the person who led the procession holds an office I want to liken to that of the Clerk of the National Assembly. I'm talking about Mrs. Ehigato, Deputy Registrar, Senate Matters. It is now my very, very rare privilege to invite our Vice Chancellor, Professor OMOREGBE, ably represented by Professor Ainde, to formally introduce our inaugural lecturer, Vice Chancellor.
Great UniBENN. Great UniBENN. Today is a day of joy, particularly to our inaugural lecturer and the family. It's in the light of that we want them to know that we are celebrating someone here at, if I say Uluku, would that be too far? Let us let them know we are doing something here. Thank you very much. Principal officers of the university, Provost College of Medical Sciences, Provost College of Postgraduate Studies, Provost College of Medical Sciences, deans and directors of faculties and schools, directors of institutes, members of council of this great university, retired and serving professors of this university, emeritus professors and members of Senate, former vice chancellor seated here, palace chiefs, Oba Atokwe. I, priest of all, we recognize your presence, sir. Staff and students of this great university, thank you. Distinguished invited guests and friends of the university, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I bring warm greetings from our dear Vice Chancellor, Professor OMOREGBE, who wanted to be here, but due to so many other pressing issues, is on national assignment presently. May God bring him back safely. It is with great delight I welcome you all to the 336th in the Inaugural Lecture Series of the University of Benin. Today's lecture is the fourth to be delivered in the Department of Linguistics, the 26th to be delivered in the Faculty of Arts, and 7th to be delivered in my tenure as the Vice Chancellor of great university. I wish to inform you all that lectures are ongoing and the university matriculation for its newly admitted students has been scheduled for Wednesday, 19th March, 2025. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to us our lecturer for today. She is Professor Mrs. ESOHE Mercy OMOREGBE. The title of our lecture is The Task of a Grammarian in a Digital Era. Professor OMOREGBE was born on 22nd of April 1961 to the family of Mr. Henry Edoleye OMOREGBE, a renowned educationist and later the Director of Arts, Edo Art Council, and Deaconess Mrs. Clarice OMOREGBE, a retired headmistress, both of blessed memory. Professor OMOREGBE obtained Sir? The mother is alive. What? This is what I have. Sorry for the mix-up. There was a mix-up somewhere here. Professor Mrs. OMOREGBE obtained her first school leaving certificate from St. Paul's Primary School, Benin City. She attended First Anglican Girls Grammar School, Benin City, and later Anglican Girls Grammar School, Osoro, where she obtained the West African School Certificate in 1980. She proceeded to India College, Benin City, to obtain her higher school certificate in 1982. Professor Mrs. OMOREGBE gained admission into the University of Benin, where she obtained Bachelor of Arts degree in Linguistics with a second-class upper division in 1985. Thank you. She undertook the mandatory one-year National Youth Service in Agbowa Ikosi Secondary School, Agbowa, Ekpe local government in Lagos State, between 1985 and 1986. After her youth service, Professor OMOREGBE working experiences were as follows: teaching assistance for use of English, University of Ibadan, 1986 to 1987, classroom teacher, teaching service board, Ebende State, 1988 to 1991. Lecturer 2, College of Education, Ekeadolo, 1991 to March 1992. To broaden our knowledge, she obtained the following additional degrees: Masters of Arts, Linguistics in 1998 from the University of Ibadan, Postgraduate Diploma in Education in 1994, Doctor of Philosophy, PhD in Linguistics 2012, both from University of Benin. Professor OMOREGBE joined the services of University of Benin in 1992 as an assistant lecturer in the Department of Linguistics and rose through the ranks to the position of professor in 2017. Thank you. Professor Mr. OMOREGBE has held several administrative positions within and outside the university, some of which include Member Committee for the Assessment of Lecturers, 2007 to 2012, Faculty Representative Committee for University of Benin Consultancy Services, 2009 to 2011, Acting Head of Department Linguistics, 2012 to 2013, Head of Department, 2013 to 2015, Hall Mistress, Female Hostel, 2013 to 2015, Hall Mistress, Undergraduate Hall, Ekenwa Campus, 2015 to 2016. She was a member, Management Committee of the University of Benin Radio Station, 2015 to 2017. Pioneer Director, Benson Idauza University Center for Edo Studies, 2017 to 2019. Head of Department of Counseling Unit, University of Benin, 2021 to date. Professor OMOREGBE is a member of several professional bodies, associations, and learned societies, some of which include Member Linguistics Association of Nigeria, Member West African Linguistics Congress, Linguistic Society of America, Institute of Benin Studies, Nigeria Oral Literature Association, Edo Language Professional Council of Nigeria. Professor OMOREGBE has 46 publications in local, national, and international journals, and has published one textbook and contributed to 2 chapters in books. She's an editor-in-chief as well as a co-editor in BENN, a journal of Edo Studies, University of Benin. She received a letter of commendation for outstanding performance as Pioneer Director, Center for Edo Studies, Benson Idauza University. She has supervised some postgraduate and several undergraduate students. She has attended several local, national, and international conferences. Professor OMOREGBE is a devout Christian of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion denomination, and she worships at St. Matthew's Anglican Cathedral, Sakumba Road, Benin City. She's one of the great cathedral ushers. She loves singing and listening to music. She's happily married to Dr. OMOREGBE, a former CMD of the Central Hospital, Benin City, and their marriage is blessed with 5 biological children only, and 1 foster child, son of late Joshua David OMOREGBE, our colleague in the Department of PBB. May God be with the child and every other child too, who was in the Department of Botany until his demise in May 2006. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of our dear Vice Chancellor, Professor Edoba OMOREGBE SAN, it is my pleasure to invite to the podium our dear lecturer for today, Professor Mercy OMOREGBE, to deliver.
Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, permit me to stay on the existing protocols already established. My esteemed guests, you are all most welcome to this inaugural lecture. This inaugural lecture is dedicated to the following: to God Almighty, my sustainer, my healer, and my very present help in trouble. maternal grandmother, Madam OMOREGBE, whom God used to give my life a meaning at a very tender age when all hope seemed lost. To my dear father, Mr. Henry OMOREGBE, who was very passionate about my education and wanted me to acquire my PhD before getting married. To my younger brother, Mr. David OMOREGBE, in the former botany department of this university, who went to be with the Lord in 2006. And then to Dr. William Aigbedo, the mama's boy in the Linguistics Studies department, who left too soon. May the souls of these lovely people continue to rest well with the Lord. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, it is with great humility and a grateful heart to the Most High God that I stand before this esteemed audience today to present the 336th in the Inaugural Lecture Series of this great university. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, for giving me this opportunity to deliver this lecture. I applied through JAM in 1981 to study linguistics in this great University of Benin. The term linguistics sounded very sophisticated when I checked the Faculty of Arts brochure, and I liked it. Some people made fun of me because of the erroneous belief that I was going to be learning how to speak multiple languages, that is polyglottism. Undeterred by their skepticism, I soon discovered a lot of interesting things about linguistics that augmented my likeness for the course. Linguistics, the scientific study of languages, also deals with general features that are common to all languages of the world. Contrary to common misconceptions, linguists are not polyglots, but scholars who study the nature of language, its general features, and how the features function to ensure that language users understand themselves. The interesting thing is that linguistics is a unique discipline that is globally relevant and also influences all other fields of study, including the new communication piloted by artificial intelligence, AI. I have never regretted choosing linguistics as my course of study, even if the choice was guided by curiosity. The object of study in linguistics is language. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, the teaching, investigations, and research of this intricate but interesting relationship between language, communication, and our society over the years has culminated in this inaugural lecture today. What is grammar? Grammar means different things to different people, depending on the user, the context of use, and the perspective from which it is being used. It can mean a person's knowledge and use of a language. It can also mean a book that incorporates the description of a language, in which case you can talk about an Edo grammar, English grammar, Pidgin grammar, and so on. It can also mean the body of statements about the patterns and structures of a language. Grammar can also mean a system of rules that spells out
how people should speak and write a language. This is the traditional conception of grammar that has influenced the way grammar has been taught and understood for years now. In this traditional conception, schools were modeled along the line of Latin grammar and were called grammar schools. In this layman's conception, when people speak, they are said to be speaking grammar, and their speeches are marked by big words. Even when such words or such speeches are not understood by those who are hearing them, like our popular Honorable Patrick Obayagmo. In other circumstances, it is also common to hear such expressions as he's just speaking or blowing grammar. He's not saying anything. Orazele Bamami. Emeni Belebogbe. Eboyenye. Ozebogbe. For the purpose of this lecture, we will consider the term grammar as what we know when we know a language, including the internalized elements and rules that make a language work. In which case, if you know how to speak your language, you know the grammar of that language. Who is a grammarian? A grammarian is someone who is an expert in the study of grammar. He is also one who analyzes and describes languages and the general usage of languages. Notable grammarians include Aristotle and Socrates. Structural grammarians like Ferdinand de Saussure and Leonard Bloomfield, and generative grammarians like Noam Chomsky. The digital era. The digital era is that era of information which is highly marked by the use of digital technologies like the computer, the smartphones you are all holding, and the internet. While the digital space or environment is the virtual world created by the variety of digital technologies. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, this lecture focuses on Edo grammar, and so it is necessary to clarify some issues about the name that the language and people have been called by over the years. Historical references present the names of the language, the people, and the kingdom as Igodomigodo, Ile Ibinu, Ubini, Bini, Edo, Bini, and so on. However, the most accurate nomenclature should be based on how the users of a language identify themselves in their indigenous language, as saying Otedo Nahi is Edo, Obiedohi, not is the Bini, Ote Bini Nahi, and so on. From a linguistic perspective, the term Edo is the appropriate term for the land, the people, and the kingdom. These references and more can be better understood in this representation, where Edo is used as the name of a kingdom or land, the name of a language, the name of a people, the name of a political state, or the name of a culture. The name Benin and Benin have also been used to refer to the people. In a press conference, in a press release by the ESOHE of Benin on August 28, 2006, and our highly respected Oba, Omonoba A. Dawa, the of blessed memory, prohibited the use of the term BINI as a linguistic and other labels of the ancient Benin Kingdom. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, this lecture serves as a reminder of that royal release and also stresses the use of Edo and Benin for proper clarification because of those languages, other Edo-speaking languages that exist in the kingdom. Historical perspective of Edo grammar. Early contributions to the Edo grammar focused on phonology, particularly the writing system, which is very crucial for standardization. A grammarian's task actually begins with ensuring a consistent orthography, since inconsistencies affect both written and spoken discourse. Over time, scholars have proposed various alphabets for the Edo language. One of the earliest being known as the mission orthography with 26 letters. The first scientific description of Edo is that of Mezer's 1937 Benin Dictionary, which had useful grammatical notes. Amazuwa 2003 proposed the 39 letters of the alphabet, which he called Edo Abidi. He proposed this alphabet to reintroduce the two letters, the two alphabets, NY and NW, that were left out, that have been left out in subsequent Edo writers' works. But these two alphabets were in Mezer's dictionary. He also highlighted the importance of the three arrows, arrow H, arrow, and the single arrow. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, in the following sessions, I will highlight some of my notable academic contributions as an Edo grammarian as I present the footprints of this grammarian. These contributions have been organized into 3 sessions according to the details of their demands. Edo as an agreement-based language, revitalizing the endangered Edo language, and then digitizing the Edo language and culture. First, Edo as an agreement-based language. My studies on Edo grammar reveal that most grammatical categories and meaning relations follow defined agreement patterns at various levels of construction. And so, language users, Edo language users and learners need to be mindful of the categorical features. They need to have a great understanding of the categorical features, selectional restriction, combinatorial restriction, as well as phonological manifestations of the different categories that feature in the Edo grammar in order to prevent ungrammatical constructions. For example, when you say there is a violation of the subject-verb agreement rule. When you say that's an anomalous sentence. a violation of animacy. My different works in this category were based on the biblical reference from Amos chapter 3, verse 3, which says, "Can two work together except they agree?" We can all attest to the fact that issues of agreement have caused so many conflicts in the world that have resulted in the incessant destruction of lives and property. In the political sector, marital sector, even in the sharing of properties, in the construction of sentences across the world, especially in Edo language, violations of agreement rule lead to ungrammaticality, unacceptability, anomalous sentences, as we just heard, and nonsensical constructions. And so, the Edo language user has to be mindful of these agreement rules in order to avoid these various forms of ungrammaticality. So my task as an Edo grammarian involves the description of how some basic aspects of the Edo language function, to know how the language works, and to find out some peculiarities that actually cause ungrammaticality, so that the language users can be made to realize this and also avoid them. Many of the researches carried out in this category reveal that the Edo verb is highly selective of the nominals and other elements that follow it. And the basic violation of this basic agreement rule leads to ungrammaticality and other nonsensical constructions. And these different examples show these ungrammatical formations. So revelations from these different works became an eye-opener to the rich nature of the grammar of the Edo language, and the fact that a collaborative work will be more revealing than what a single effort might reveal. So I went into a lot of collaborative studies with both my junior colleagues and my senior colleagues thereafter. As in such works as OMOREGBE and ESOHE 2015, OMOREGBE and ESOHE 2016, even in a study conducted by OMOZUWA and OMOREGBE in 2009 on the relations between tones and segments in Edo, it was revealed that gerunds derived from tones, from verbs, consistently follow defined tonal pattern, and that is regardless of the underlying tones that they have. This underscored the intricate agreement relations in grammar as evident in these examples. In a variety of studies on the internal structure of the Edo verb by Yuka and OMOREGBE 2006, 2008, 2011, and 2012, it was revealed that the Edo verb is very complex and consists of lexical units with categorical and semantic features with a lot of agreement issues to contend with. Many other studies like OMOREGBE and ESOHE 2015, OMOREGBE and ESOHE 2016, OMOREGBE and EJAMU 2018, even in the study of English and Edo medical translations in OMOREGBE and EWOMA 2014A, Anaphors in Edo, OMOREGBE and Edo 2017, and many other constructions. These agreement issues are bound that the Edo users and learners must be mindful of. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, The second category of my contribution is in addressing the endangerment issue of the Edo language and efforts made to revitalize the language. According to UNESCO 2003 framework, Edo is endangered because it is no longer consistently employed in our environment as a mother tongue. Even when parents speak, children often reply in other languages. We can see in some conversations that English and Pidgin influences lead to adulterated forms that are obvious in these conversations as we have here. In the first conversation, speaker one says, babe, what you na? You when you want check you. Speaker two says, oh yes, a long time, what's up? And speaker one again says, what's up now? In another conversation, Oduwa says, how far? Erero. And Uyi replies, Amafa, my brother. And Oduwa says, a man will fuck him up. In these conversations and many other conversations, we can see code missing references in different conversations among the Edo speakers. In an earlier study in 2005, I also on language vitality, I drew attention to the gradual decline in the use of Edo, revealing that only 35% of speakers had positive attitude towards the language. 60% had negative views, while 5% were indifferent. Since then, the situation had worsened because of the rise of digital media and the linguistic situation in Edo State, where other languages are spoken in addition to the English language and Pidgin that are in close competition with the Edo language. I have also led other collaborative projects to address these endangerment issues. OMOREGBE 2007 investigated the key challenges in teaching Edo at the junior secondary school level in the Edo State Senatorial District and identified issues like negative attitude of students, teachers, and other stakeholders, dominance of English and Pidgin on the Edo language, and others. Some of the issues identified in some of these studies led to my discussion of the Edo-based model that was introduced by the former governor, Godwin Obaseki, which he used to reform education in Edo State. The Edo State public schools, though that model was very innovative, it did not utilize trained Edo language teachers. The model also introduced digital models, digital tools, without addressing practical implementation challenges. Rather than revitalizing the language, its model seemed to have worsened the endangerment status of the Edo language. Before the Edo-based model, the teaching of Edo was already declining because of societal apathy, driven by misconception that indigenous languages are inferior and they have nothing to offer. They are inferior to English and Pidgin. Many parents discourage their children from speaking Edo because they think that speaking Edo will make them to perform less in their academic pursuit, when researchers have shown that bilingual children outperform monolinguals. Evidence abound in the Department of Linguistic Studies, where we have 3 of my junior colleagues who have children from the kindergarten level to the junior secondary school level who can speak Edo very well and can still perform very well in the different subjects that are taught using the English language, and yet they speak the English language very fluently. It will interest you to know that one of these junior colleagues is in a mixed marriage. So to preserve and revitalize the Edo language, critical adjustments must be made, including proper teacher training, curriculum revision, and others. When I went to do my sabbatical at BIU 2017 to 2019, I was given the mandate to start a center for Edo studies. With the great encouragement of the Pro-Chancellor, Engineer Dr. G.O. Isibo, who was very passionate about the Edo Center, I set up a very robust governing board with a good roadmap, and with the encouragement from some members of that governing board like Professor P.A. Igbafe, Professor V.E. Omozuwa, both of blessed memories, and I delivered on my mandate, despite all odds. I also organized a seminar on July 31st, 2019, with the theme, the teaching of the Edo language in primary schools and secondary school towards the use of the new media and harmonization of the Edo orthography and proper pronunciation of Edo. When I returned from my sabbatical, I gathered the Edo language teachers of the Linguistic Studies Department together, and we started organizing lectures on the Edo language to address issues we went into an informal lecture, the vitality of the Edo language in a complex multilingual society, which I delivered at a virtual book launch on October 30th, 2021. The fallout of that lecture was a boost in the crusade to save the Edo language and culture, whose outcome metamorphosed into what became known as the standardization and harmonization of the Edo writing system. From January to November 2022, we held a total of 11 virtual lectures on different aspects of Edo, attracting an eager audience. And Ikwemen Akun Edo was my own session. I also conveyed a symposium on September 20th, 2023 on the theme, the harmonization and standardization of the Edo writing system, re-examining the rebirth of Edo cultural values. This event was also organized by the Edo language teachers of the Linguistic Studies Department in collaboration with the Cedar Club of Benin, and that event was highly commended for its contribution to preserve the Edo language. Our very good father, the High Priest Osanyege Obohon, was one of our great supporters. I delivered the lecture, Language Education in Schools, the Methodology, in that symposium. Earlier, OMOREGBE 2020 analyzed 4 key features of the Edo writing system, which emphasize the need for consistency in formal writing to prevent confusion among learners and users of the Edo language. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, at this point, I'd like to propose a center for Edo language engineering that will be a beehive of activities for all things that pertain to the Edo language and culture, where people will come to take long-term and short-term courses and get certificated. A center that people will come and do holiday programs, sensitization programs, a center that will showcase the Edo language and culture to the world from the great University of Benin across spoken, written, and digital communication. Pragmatic stakeholders are by this proposal encouraged to partner with the university. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, my third category of contribution is in digitizing the Edo language and culture. Digitization, the task of the grammarian is in digitizing grammar with digital into the digital digitization of grammar with digital resources and formats. All my works in this session is in securing the future of the Edo language and culture through digitization. In 2020, in 2018 to 2020, I led a team supported by the Firebird Foundation for Anthropological Research for the documentation of oral literature. September 2022 to March 2023, I served as a facilitator in the research committee under the Institute of Benin Studies in collaboration with Infra Nigeria. Since November 2022, I have been one of the language consultants to Digital Benin, an international research initiative. My role in that project includes the voicing of groups in the Edo designation tab and vetting the Edo language text for the project, which has helped museums globally to use proper Edo names and their pronunciations. In a series of lectures and researches, I've also highlighted the impact of the social media on the erosion of our indigenous languages. Today, most communication occurs via digital platforms through WhatsApp, TikTok, and Instagram. They often replace traditional face-to-face interaction. In OMOREGBE 2015, 2018, and OMOREGBE Anidada 2020. These works can be found. I supported OMOREGBE's 2019 work on digital teaching methods, which he presented at the BIU Center for Studies at the seminar, during the seminar organized in 2019. Challenges in digitizing the Edo language. To preserve the Edo language and culture, there have been many challenges which result from misrepresentation of Edo on different digital platforms, and the misrepresentation of the erroneous data that have been loaded in these different platforms on Edo. Challenges include the fact that the Edo language does not have a unique set of emoticons and smiley. There is also the inadequacy of Google Translator and other challenges. For example, Google Translator was given the input OWA to translate, and it recognized the language as Estonian language. And the input that was given to it, OWA, also came out as the output as the same OWA, which means it does not recognize the Edo language. Incorrect ChatGPT answers. ChatGPT was given the question, Dukino Enoka Wukpo Edo. Instead of just saying Upiagwe, it came out with these deviant answers. That means Google Translator does not recognize the Edo, they misrepresent the language, and they produce incorrect outputs. There is also the lack of digital libraries, while online repositories such as Digital BENN focus on historical artifacts. They do not yet provide comprehensive digital resources for Edo grammar. There is the non-availability of digital classrooms. Although Zoom and YouTube have been used to teach Edo grammar, digital learning platforms like Duolingo and Submeter do not yet support the Edo language. But there is a digital classroom powered by somebody called Ederao Amadi, a graduate of the Linguistic Studies Department, and is very well commended for using the standard Edo orthography. That graduate is from the Linguistics Department of this great university. There is also the lack of accurate online corpus and dictionaries. While platforms like ResearchGate and Academia.edu contain some Edo language resources, standardized Edo corpus has remained a major challenge. JW.org has very commendable materials that follow the standard Edo orthography, though a little improvement is still required. There is a new dictionary called EME, powered by a group of linguists. It's a monolingual dictionary that has very commendable transcriptions that can be used. Existing online dictionaries like EME and Edo Folk are commendable for giving Edo some online presence. While EME is well commendable, Edo Folk is, however, encouraged to employ the correct orthography. There are many issues with social media and alternative media like WhatsApp, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. These contain increasing amount of Edo content, but much of it lack linguistic accuracy. There are 3 stickers displayed here. The first one is Egbewa Warren. It's popularly translated in English, in Pidgin English, as I just tire. This sticker, what is written here, is supposed to be 4 lexical items that make up a sentence. But the last 2 lexical items have been compressed into 1 lexical item, woman, and even the one word woman has issues with orthography and word division. The correct ones have been written there. Then the second one, we will say a popular example. We will say is a full sentence with 3 lexical items. These 3 lexical items, as we can see here, have been compressed into 1 word to become 1 word. And even the 1 word has issue with orthography because the first letter E, which is supposed to have a subdot, does not have the subdot. So the correct form has been written there as U, and essay, you do well. Like, thank you, you have done well. Then the Azeba is a popular song. I'm sure some of us have heard it. The first 2 letters have been violated in in the issue of subdots, they are supposed to carry subdots, as you can see on the correct ones. However, a commendable effort towards creating Edo-termed emojis was made in Osasoge Idada's 2022 MA research in the Department of Linguistic Studies. But this work needs further development and promotion. This is another signboard. It used to be beside the small gate of this university. It's like a church signpost written Bele Yakwa. It's supposed to be a sentence, Bele, Ehia, and Kwa. It's translated as destroy them all. Even the one word that has been presented show interference with another language, probably the Igbo language, because some of the letters that have been written have reflexes of the Igbo letters. So the correct ones have been written in two forms. The full form, Bele, Eya, Kwa, showing word division, and the second one, Bele, Ya, Kwa, showing the use of apostrophe in case we want to use it in the form of the free-flowing speech. The attention of the pastor should please be drawn to these corrections. The way forward. The way forward. The preservation of the Edo language and culture can be done using the following. Partnering with social media experts, encouraging good representation of Edo on different digital platforms, and many others. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, recommendations. My distinguished audience, there is no gainsaying that language is what gives meaning to a people's life in terms of its important communicative functions. It is on this premise that I make the following recommendations. First, informal writing such as SMS and social media chats should reflect the spoken form of the language that is simpler, more flexible, and non-prescriptive. The use of apostrophe makes this possible, like the second example of Bele Yakwa. The second recommendation is for formal communication involving grammatical analysis of Edo written constructions. The lecture recommends the formal written forms that reflects the feature of word division, which stipulates that words used in a construction must be shown in their separate forms in order to indicate their independent grammatical functions in the constructions. This is actually needed in grammatical constructions. All Edo parents should make Edo the primary language of communication in the home. The Edo-based model, the Edo-based digital model should be modified to yield better results for the teaching of the Edo language. The Edo state government is also encouraged to absorb all Edo language, Edo linguistics combined honors graduates into the Edo State Governing Education Board so that they can make a difference in the teaching of the Edo language. The November 30th, 2022 Federal Executive Council New Language Policy, New National Language Policy of Nigeria, which makes the use of the mother tongue or language of immediate environment the medium of instruction in primaries 1 to 6, should be implemented in Edo schools. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, conclusion. In this lecture, I set out to interrogate the task of the Edo Grammarian. What is this task? From the lecture, it is obvious that this task is multifaceted. It is to ensure and encourage proper use of language computational rules. It is to digitally document the language and to create digital language resources. It is also to expand digital archives and libraries. The need to use the Edo language properly to avoid miscommunication and eventual disappearance has been greatly emphasized in this lecture. The standardization and harmonization of the Edo writing system is a task that must be done by the Edo Grammarian. That time is now. Wayere egenaya yoro obioma akugbo eti Edo asogoma Edo odion agare sogoma Edo odion. Let us make this adage work for the Edo language by making Edo language writing system a uniform one. Thank you. Acknowledgements. Acknowledgements. I'd like to acknowledge the following persons. I'm grateful to God Almighty for His infinite mercies, uncommon favor, and extraordinary grace upon my life. I'm grateful to Him for not allowing my curiosity to study linguistics out of curiosity to kill me like the cat. To Him be all glory and honor. I thank our Vice Chancellor for giving me this opportunity to deliver this lecture. I'd like to thank a former Vice Chancellor, Professor FFO Owumesi, a very good father, in whose regime I was announced as a professor after some delay for his fatherly disposition that prevented further delay of that promotion. The news of that delay, the news of that promotion came the same day as the news of my firstborn grandchild on my sick bed, and it facilitated my healing to the glory of God. I'd like to thank former Vice Chancellor Owaze, in whose regime I was employed into this university as an assistant lecturer in the Department of Linguistics and African Languages, as it was called then. And to Emeritus Professor Aro Elaho, who was instrumental to that employment. Thank you, sir. To Emeritus Professor Egafona and family, who took my late brother as their own. Thank you very much, sir. I thank my fathers from the palace who have come to represent our revered, our highly respected Oba. May God grant you peace. Baba. To my father, to my father, the high priest Oserege Ebohon, who is always supporting the Department of Linguistic Studies in every program we hold, and for his love for me personally, I say thank you. Uwe say Baba, who you are me. To my PhD supervisor, Professor N.C. Yuka, who I call the professor of professors, for his contribution to my academic pursuit in this great university, for his great contribution to this lecture, for making me the first indigenous PhD holder in the department and the first female professor. For making me the first female professor. You know, I forgot to say that this is the first inaugural lecture to be delivered by a female professor of the Department of Linguistics. Thank you very much, sir. To my dean, Professor Obi Osadolo, my special brother, thank you very much. To the Linguistic Studies Department, my family. To the HOD, Professor M.S. Agbo, whom I've been working with as my friend, thank you. To Dr. Iwama, Mr. James Agbedo, Casey and Yobo, Dr. Aleto, who have contributed greatly to this lecture, I say thank you. To my fathers from the Anglican Communion, I say thank you very much. To NGS Association, Mama Ozi, thank you. My family, of more than 80 years, who I call the praying mother, thank you for all your labor of love. Thank you to my children, daughter and daughter Mrs. Amahian, to Osadebami and Osati, my lovely twins and mommy's helping hands, to Unama, the baby of the family and a medical student of this great university, and to Sasenaga, God's special project. I say thank you all. To my grandchildren, thank you. To my uncles and family, thank you. And to my dear husband, I say thank you. I love you, Gadebe. Thank you. Please put your hands together. Please sit. The acknowledgement would not have been complete without due respect of the husband, who personally called me over 2 months ago to say his wife was going to present inaugural lecture. I must do everything to support her. Please put your hands together for this gathering. And that, I believe, has been a most insightful and wonderful lecture. May I now respectfully invite the representative of the Vice Chancellor to recap the lecture.
Well, I want to join every one of us in congratulating our lecturer, and in particular our father, the husband. I will say behind every successful woman, there is a man. Thank you very much. This the summary of the lecture. The digital era presents opportunities and challenges for Edo grammarians tasked with preserving, documenting, and advancing the Edo language. In a world increasingly driven by technology, the role of the grammarian extends beyond traditional linguistics analysis to encompass digital preservation, language teaching, and computational applications. This shift requires innovative approaches to ensure that the Edo language thrives in the digital era. The lecturer drew our attention to the threats of extinction to our local languages. And just like any other language, Edo language needs to be preserved through constant communication in our homes. And it must be studied in schools up to university level, with governments providing job opportunities as incentives. This lecture presented The task of Edo Grammarian in the digital era has motivated blending traditional linguistic expertise with technological innovation. She showed that by embracing digital tools and addressing the needs of a changing linguistic landscape, Edo grammarians can play a vital role in ensuring the vitality and relevance of the Edo language in a globalized world. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of our dear Vice Chancellor, Professor Eduba Omoregbe, SAN, I want to thank every one of us for our patience, for our time, and I believe any other time we call you, you oblige us with your time. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, sir. The Acting Vice Chancellor will now proceed to decorate the lecturer as we invite the immediate family members, husband, children, mama, brothers and sisters. Please come up stage. Husband, children, mama, brothers and sisters. Please no cousin, please no nephew, no niece. Thank you. And so as we do that, we would like to acknowledge, as I enjoin you to put your hands together, the darling husband, Dr. Monday OMOREGBE. Please put your hands together. We thank also Dr. Mrs. Amakia Ikmawosa, who is the daughter. Put your hands together. We also acknowledge the other children, Mr. Osaze OMOREGBE, Mr. Osade Bane OMOREGBE, Engineer Osaiti OMOREGBE, Mr. Senaga Omoegui, Ms. Uhunoma OMOREGBE. We welcome especially the mother, Deaconess Clarice Omoegui. Please put your hands together for Mama. We respectfully acknowledge the presence of the former Vice Chancellor, Professor FFO Orunesi. Welcome, sir. We welcome the representative of the Vice Chancellor of the Benson Idahosa University, Professor Johnson. No, representative of the VC's Associate Professor Ezirim Daniel. Please put your hands together. We welcome the former Vice Chancellor of BIU, Professor Johnson Oyedeji. We welcome from the Royal Palace of our Royal Father, representatives of the Oba of Benin, Chief Edegbe Ugbobo, the Olaye of Benin Kingdom. We welcome you, Chief. We welcome Chief Ige Ekato, the Oba Sogie of Benin Kingdom. Please put your hands together. We also welcome very specially High Priest of African Traditional Religion, Edo State, Osenige Ebohon. Welcome, sir. Put your hands together. We welcome the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Dame Edith Ebomoyi. We welcome the former DVC admin, a member of the University's Governing Council, Professor Ikmawosa Omoruyi. Former DVC Akawan Campus, Professor John Ogene. We welcome you. The former acting DVC admin and member of the Governing Council, Professor Maureen Ebomoyi. We welcome you. We welcome Professor Emeritus and Professor Mrs. T.O.K. Audu. We welcome Professor Emeritus Raymond Delaho. We welcome Professor Emeritus Musa and Professor Mrs. Kokure Erafona. We welcome Professor Emeritus Julius Ikatua. We welcome Orator BIU, Professor Mark Igile. We welcome from the Anglican Communion, Professor Venerable Ifreo Osamoyi, Reverend Canon Samuel Ugiagbe, Venerable Father Idumoyi, Reverend Canon N.E. Iyekekolo. Please clap for them. We thank you for coming. We also thank for coming the former Dean of Arts, Professor Constantine Yuka. Professor Samuel Aibweku, we welcome you, sir. We welcome Professor Jennifer Ebegbe, Professor Andrew Ugu, ASU Uniben Vice Chairman, Professor Inauna. We welcome you. We welcome Professor Ame Uhuango. We welcome Professor Ngozi Ilo. We welcome Professor Onaiwu Enabulele, our distinguished lecturer of last week. Please put your hands together. We welcome Professor Venerable Sunday Omosiwo. We welcome Professor Joshua Ukpoma. We welcome Professor Manasseh Imoni Kebe. Welcome Mr. Oko Patrick Engineer Chris Ekato, we welcome you. We welcome Elder J.I. Asemota. Engineer Mozusi Osawe, we welcome you. The last but certainly not the least, Professor Faustina Idu, we welcome you. Please put your hands together for yourselves, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude this 336th in the Inaugural Lecture Series of the University of Benin. We shall now rise for the UniBen anthem and the third stanza of the national anthem. The Vice Chancellor's procession will exit the auditorium. Grammar.